everyone. So today we're going to be talking about how to maximize, minimize your window. What do those colored buttons really do? And what happens when all of a sudden you do something and now you can't find the thing that you're working on, but you know you didn't close that window, and it can get really confusing and overwhelming pretty quickly. So we're just going to take a couple of minutes and just talk about how to manage your windows and what to do. So I'm going to open up a Safari window just because it's Safari and why not. And let me go to, I'll just go to Google. Okay, so I've got these three buttons in the upper left-hand corner. The red one with the X, that closes it. People are pretty comfortable with that. The yellow one, which minimizes it, that's not too bad, but it can get confusing on where it goes. I think the biggest problem is this green one. So first off, if you don't see these buttons, that's because you've already hit the green one or it's set up to automatically open it in full screen. So if I don't see any of these buttons, all I need to do is move my cursor to the top and then just sit there for a second, and they'll pop on down. You could also, if you wanted to, just hit the escape button on your keyboard, and that's going to pull it right out of full screen. All right, and then you'll get those colored buttons as well. Now, if I hit the yellow one and I minimize it, it goes down to the bottom of my dock. Now, my dock's on the left side, yours might be on the bottom, but it's going to go to the end of the dock, and I can just tap on it and bring it back up. But let's say, for example, you're working on it and you get a notification, you click on it, or something happens, and all of a sudden it disappears, something like that. And you're like, well, how do I get that back? What's going on? Well, there's two ways you could do it. If you remembered that I was using Safari, I could click on my Safari and it'll come right back. But also what I could do is I could take four fingers, and I'm going to kind of hold them like a little bit of a claw like this, and I'm just going to swipe it left or right. So if I'm on this window, I'm going to take my claw and I'm going to take four fingers and I'm going to swipe from the left trackpad to the right. Oops, went too far. And it brings back my desktop. And then I can do the same thing. I can go swipe left to get there, swipe right to get back. Left, right. Okay, so that is if something happens, or let's say you need to just look at something on your desktop, or you need to open up another app, you could, instead of closing it, you could just swipe over, and now I could open up, let's say, my Finder. And now I have my Finder here, and I've got my website here. All right, so once again, if I don't see the colored buttons, I just move it up to the top or hit escape. And if I minimize it, it goes down to the end of my dock. The last thing I want to do is show you how to do a split screen. So this is a little bit more complicated, but it's not too tricky. I'm gonna push and hold that green circle. And notice what happened. I pushed and held that green circle, and half my screen's blue and half is normal, and it kind of made it a little bit smaller. And if I move it back and forth, it will kind of move the blue back and forth. All right, so this is gonna give me a split screen. So if I release it now, notice my Safari is on half my screen, and I can make my Finder the other half. There's a couple of tricks to this though. Whatever I want to be side by side, I have to open both apps first. So it can't be something where I try and put Safari on one half and then I want to then open another app. All right, both apps have to be open at the beginning for this to work. The second thing is, let's say I'm done with my split screen. All right, and I hit escape to get out of my split screen, or I could just hit the green circle again to get out of my split screen. Well, where's my Finder, right? And if I click on Finder, you'll notice my Finder is still full screen. So when I get out of it, one app stays full screen and the other one gets smaller. So just be aware of that. There's a whole nother one up here that's full screen as well. And one last thing that can be a little bit confusing, when it's full screen, you can't minimize the app straight from there. Okay, so a lot of people are confused where they want to minimize it, but the yellow button's gone. That's because you can only minimize it when you already don't have a full screen app. So just be aware of that. Red is close, yellow is minimize, green is maximize, and minimize only works if I'm not in my full screen mode. All right, so hopefully that cleared things up. Good luck.